3:30.
Wow. Okay.
Which is fine.
Okay.
Which is totally fine.
All
I
right.
mean, I would tell you if I thought it was long.
Okay.
I didn't think it was. I thought
Okay.
that the information was relevant and it worked. So
Now, how many bullets did that one have? I think
that one
a couple.
had 5.
5. Okay. So this
So,
is 4. All right.
Yeah. So I mean,
Okay.
you're right in there with time. I mean,
Right on.
yeah. Okay, so let's talk about failure. I mean, a lot of people are afraid of failure, but what is it that you think business folks out there can learn from failure?
So it's interesting. Many entrepreneurs talk about, or people talk about, the success of businesses. And what I found in my career as my 6-time serial entrepreneur is that I've learned a lot from failure, and really don't be afraid of it. And the first one, I actually heard this from Richard Branson, and he said, be on the verge of being fired. If you're in a company and you're comfortable in your job and you're not pushing the envelope, I'm not saying to be, rude and a disgruntled worker, but you really need to question, and you really need to challenge the system. So be on the verge of being fired. That's what's going to get your creative juices going. That's what's going to get you to get to the next level of your career, or to start your own company and to feel that you can, because you really have now pushed the envelope of where you are. And there's a lot of failure in business. In fact, there's more failures than there are successes, and you need to learn from that. And I think in our society, we all try not to be a failure. My kids, when they played soccer at the age of 5, everybody got a trophy. Well, that wasn't success. And so by teaching our kids that, everybody gets a trophy, nobody's learned that they've had to work harder because they didn't make it. They didn't make the team, or they didn't win the championship. They got a trophy anyway. So you really need to make sure that you're learning from these failures, and there's an abundance of them, and turn them around. The other thing that I do is I actually keep a log of everything that I do. I write down all of the things I'm going to do in a day. I'm going to write down all the things that worked right. More importantly, I'm going to write down the things that didn't go well. And that is a constant reminder to me of the things that didn't happen the right way, or my product didn't come out the way that I wanted, and how do I now recover from that? How do I challenge my team or myself to make it better if I don't remember what I did? So I literally write things down, and then I strategize on how to improve that. And so that's sort of a tip for, I don't want to say, having a failure, but once you do, really understand it and what made or led to that failure. And then the last one, which I find is fascinating, is that some people think failures exist, which they do, but some are perceived failures. So for example, I took a company through bankruptcy, and most people say, oh my gosh, that's a total business failure. But it really turned out to be the best thing for that company, because we had a lot of debt, we had a lot of things, we had all this sort of history and legacy that weren't the management team that were there, and so we literally had to take it through bankruptcy to clean it so we could move it forward, to get a fresh start. Look at GM. These companies, they go through this, and you think of it as a failure, but in reality you're resetting, and you're giving yourself an opportunity to do things right. So don't be afraid to fail, but you got to learn from it when you do.
Wow, home run.